What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to talk about how to choose a powerlifting coach, and more specifically, how to choose an online powerlifting coach. In this day and age, you have access as a consumer to any coach around the world that you want to work with, and you're not restricted to people that are local to you. So when you're presented with this huge, array of options as to who you want to coach with you, who you want to coach you, it's important to consider a number of different factors. And if you've never had an online coach before, then it can be a bit daunting as to where to start or what criteria you might be looking for. So that's what I want to discuss today. Before I go on, I want to say if you are a beginner, in the first 6 to maybe even 12 months of your training, I would highly recommend that you find someone that's local to you, that you can work with in person, because that's just going to accelerate your learning so much more, and you're going to learn so much more about correct technique, and you're going to progress so much faster in that setting. And it's generally accepted that online coaching or remote coaching is better suited for, at least early intermediate stages and beyond. Now, how do we choose an online coach? I think the first thing that you need to understand is that not all coaches are built the same. And I'm sure you realize this. Not all coaches are the same level. But it's also important to understand that the level of a powerlifting coach isn't solely dependent on their knowledge, isn't solely dependent on their reputation, and isn't solely dependent on, their skill set. Because when you take on a coach, what you're taking on essentially is a service. It's a interpersonal relationship. And how that service is delivered is a very important aspect of what you're paying for as a client. What do I mean by that? What I mean is you can have a coach that is extremely intelligent, that has a vast amount of experience, huge amounts of formal education, that has a great reputation, that you've seen, produce videos or content before that you're like, wow, this guy's really smart. But if their online coaching system is a program once a month, no video reviews, no Skype calls, nothing like that, you just get your program once a month and you do the program, and you get a review once a month, and it's $20 a week, Australian dollars, or $25 a week, then it doesn't matter how good they are, because that level of service is just really low. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying that should be frowned upon. I'm just saying that's like a low level of service. Whereas maybe a less experienced coach or a less skillful coach who provides weekly check-ins, who provides an almost daily communication, who provides video review, Skype calls, all these kind of other things, then they mightn't be as good in terms of an objective point of view, but that service is a lot higher, and they might charge a lot more. So it's unfair to compare coaches because you don't know what they're offering. You can't say, oh, Coach X charges $50 a week, and then this coach only charges $30 a week. How can Coach X charge $50 a week? They're not even that good. But you don't know what service they're providing, which is why it's important to inquire with the various coaches you might be interested in and find out exactly what service they provide. An example I think about is you could be the best chef in the world, but if you work at McDonald's, you have to make a Big Mac the same way as everyone else. And your skill set is almost useless because you have to provide this service. You don't even have the opportunity to express your skill set. So it's important to understand that not all coaches are built the same, but importantly, what they provide is very different. So it's important to reflect, what are you looking to get out of your coaching service? Now, I've worked with clients who are very self-sufficient, who don't need motivation, who don't need accountability, who don't need a lot. And they're happy to just take their program every week and just go with the program and do the program. Whereas I've worked with people in the past before who are much more, needy, you could say. And that's not meant to be a negative term, but just have higher requests, just have higher demands. They want more frequent communication. They want feedback on everything. They want to engage in that way. And that's cool too. And it's important for you as a client to go, well, if you're someone that doesn't need a lot of that accountability, then seeing a coach that offers weekly Skype calls, that offers, all this extra service might be a waste of your money in that way. And you might be better off finding a coach who provides a more basic system, because that's all you need. It's also important to realize that many coaches will offer, tiers in their coaching service. So they might say, for $30 a week, you get this. For $45 a week, you get that. For $60 a week, you get something else. So again, the first step is you've got to inquire with these coaches and find out what they're offering, and what obviously suits your budget, and if what they're offering is something that's suited to you. Now, an important point to acknowledge is that I would recommend against choosing a coach who coaches all these high-level lifters and all these superstar athletes. And don't get sucked into coaches who coach all these, pros. And there's a number of reasons for that. My experience around this centers in 2015, 2016 when I started coaching Brett Gibbs. And when Brett started working with me, he obviously at the time was at a very high level. He'd just come off losing at the Open Worlds. I think he came second in Finland. And we worked together, and it was a really successful relationship. He went on to break the world record total 4 months after we started working together, which was awesome. And it was a really great time in my career as an online coach, and I'm not going to deny that. His reach brought a lot of clients to me, and for that I was always very grateful for the relationship that I had with Brett. And it was interesting to note because a lot of the clients that came to me obviously saw that I was coaching Brett and were inspired by that, which is very valid, and wanted to work with me. But the success that Brett saw when I was coaching him was as much to do with the fact that he is a genetic outlier, is as much to do with all the previous hard training that he'd done prior, is as much to do with all of the hard work that he put in as it was that I was coaching him. And I didn't get him to that level. He was already at that level. He was already an elite, super elite athlete when he came to me. So to take a super elite athlete and coach them doesn't make someone a good coach. You need to, what I'm trying to say here is you need to look at the coaches that you're interested in and try to pick up on the trends that their athletes are going through. So for example, if some coach has all these super famous, super high level clients or whatever, or a number of them, but they're not progressing, then they're not a very good coach. Or if they're injured, then they're not a very good coach. And they might only have those clients due to, popularity or for fame. And some of the best coaches, some of the smartest people I know don't have that reach, don't have the, clout or Insta fame or YouTube presence to gain these high level clients. And it's a shame because these guys are very talented coaches, but they don't have that level. Whereas on the flip side of that, there are some very, not so qualified people that through connections, through networks, have gained a couple of high level clients. And it now seems as if they are responsible for that person's success, which is just not the case at all. So just be really wary of that and, understand what an effective coach is. It's someone that's able to, improve their clients' performance on an average level, not just their one or two highlight clients. And it's also important to look at the stragglers, which is the hardest part to discern in a powerlifting coach. So, if a powerlifting coach has, just for argument's sake, 50 clients, and 2 of them win the national championships, but then 30 of their other clients all get injured and don't even make it to the comp. You don't see, this is a case of survivorship bias. You might be familiar with that term. You don't see those 30 people that have got injured because they didn't make it to the platform. When you're injured, you're demotivated, you don't post on social media, you're not tagging stuff, so you as a consumer don't see all the people that got injured along the way. What you see is, wow, this guy coached two national champs. They're a great coach. Or you might not see the people that just weren't progressing or that weren't improving. There might have been 30 clients that were stalling while only 2 were progressing. But those 2 were put on this pedestal because they were really high achieving. So that's a case of survivorship bias. It's where you don't see the ones that drop off because by definition, they've dropped off. A really good marker of a good powerlifting coach is someone who's able to take less genetically blessed people who aren't as, who aren't in a position to improve as much and eking what benefit that they can from that person. It's getting the best out of every single person. And as much as it might pain to hear it, you, the viewer of this video, statistically just aren't in that upper echelon of high achievers. You are more likely in the bottom 90%. You're more likely going to be an average genetic person, an average achieving athlete. So to look at the success that a coach has with elite athletes, to look at the success that a coach has with, from a small population group isn't fair. What you need to try to find is what level of success is this coach who I'm interested in working with achieving with their mediocre base, or with their, I guess, general clientele? Because that will tell you a lot more about what that coach is doing, what they're achieving, than the couple of highlight reels. Because you've got to remember that social media, Instagram, YouTube, however you're consuming your content from the various powerlifting and coaching personalities that you are, those are highlight reels. And if you see a coach who's posting that the great success of all their clients, then be aware that, well, what are you not seeing? What are they not posting? This leads me to something that I'm very aware of in my own practice, and that is, I guess, sharing the success of my clients. If you follow me on social media, I don't often post about the success of my clients, because as someone who's very self-critical, I'm very aware that at any given point, I have a number of clients that aren't improving. I have a number of clients that might be injured. I have a number of people that I'm working with who haven't improved for a long time. And I feel, personally, sometimes a bit dishonest, sharing, wow, look at what my client has done. They've improved 40 kilos on their total in 6 months. Meanwhile, not mentioning the fact that I've got 5 clients over here that are battling injury, that are trying to work their way through that I'm helping them through that. So I'm very apprehensive to share the success of my coaching clients, and I've been for a long time grappling with a way to, I guess, be transparent with what I'm sharing in terms of the work that I'm doing with the people that I'm working with, and sharing, I guess, a truer or a more honest reflection of what's happening with my practice and the practice at the Strength Fortress. So yeah, I guess all that ties into what I was saying before. So the meat of the question is, how do you go about choosing a powerlifting coach? There's a couple of key things that I want you to take from this. Is one, be very critical of what you see and what you read from different clients, from different coaches, and what they're putting out there on social media, because it's not all what you think it is. Two, be really clear before you even start inquiring what you want out of your coaching relationship. Do you want someone to work with for only 6 months as you prepare for nationals? Say that to the coach that you're acquiring with. Do you want to find a coach that you plan on working with for a number of years and be like, hey dude, I want to work with you, or dudette, I want to work with you for the next 5 years, at least that's your intention maybe. And I want to build a really strong relationship. I want to get to know you. I want you to get to know me. I want a bit more of a personal relationship. So maybe that's something that you want. Maybe you want a coach that's going to teach you. Maybe you're a personal trainer or an aspiring coach yourself. So maybe you want a coach who can share with you, be a lot more collaborative with your programming style or coaching style. So I guess it's important to reflect on what it is you want out of that coaching relationships. And the last step is to just inquire and be really honest, and be really thorough with your inquiries. There's nothing that irks a powerlifting coach more than when you get an inquiry on DMs on Instagram or even an email saying, hey, what are your powerlifting coaching prices? Like I said at the start, that's not enough knowledge. That's not enough information to know whether or not you want to start a coaching relationship with that person. Because a price, what are you getting for that price? It's not as simple as, this person offers coaching at this price and this person offers coaching at that price. You can't compare those types of things. So inquire with a number of coaches, be really thorough with your inquiries, explain what you're looking to get out of the coaching relationship, what you want to achieve, all those types of informations. And that coach will be in a better position to entertain you and to say, to decide, I guess, if that's going to be a compatible relationship. So I hope you found that useful. If you've got any questions about what it means to be a powerlifting coach or how you can go about finding a powerlifting coach for yourself, or if you want to work with me, I'd love that. Leave a comment in the section below. Otherwise, you can get in contact with me via email address, and I'll talk to you next time. Thanks.